Number 13 ranked UFC Bantamweight, Ricky Simon, who, first and foremost, Ricky, it must feel nice to finally hear that you're a ranked Bantamweight after what feels like so long.
Yeah, it's nice to be back in the rankings for sure. I got in like my first three fights in the UFC went pretty well. Then I got in the rankings in my first year and then, suffered some losses and had to build my way back up. So it's definitely nice to be I I know it says 13th, but I always say 12th because it makes no sense that Sean O'Malley's ranked 12th. I go in, I knock out the 12th ranked guy in the world. Monday they rank him 12, me 13th. Don't make no sense to me. So I keep saying I'm ranked 12th in the world.
I don't quite know how the rankings work because I remember when Chito Vera knocked out Frankie Edgar, Chito was still ranked below Edgar the next weekend. So I don't really know how the rankings actually work, but it must feel nice to be back in the top 15.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's where I feel like I belong. I'm 19-3 as a professional fighter and have some big wins over some good names. So I feel like it's right where I belong. Right back in it, right back in the mix.
Well, let's talk about the last fight, the second round knockout over Raphael Assuncao.
Yeah,
a little bit of time to reflect on it. How do you view that performance back in December?
It was perfect. I think it was like a perfect fight week for me. I put the coaches around me. I've been putting a lot of work with Team Oyama, Coach Colin Oyama in California, but I live in Washington State. I train at America Top Team Portland, and I have Fabiano Scherner and Dylan Fussell guiding me whenever I'm home training. So the three of them working together all week was just perfect. And I was like, all right, I know I work so hard. I know I do all the best to recover and I put the best team around me. So I just felt like so confident this time going into a ranked fight than I have previously. And I was like, I do this every day. If I just do what I do, it's gonna work out. And dang it did. It did.
I did want to say about that because this 4-fight win streak you're on, you probably got the most impressive. Well, you got only 2 finishes of the 4, but the most impressive performance was over the best name in Assuncao. So it's probably worked out well for your career that the most impressive performance is also paired with the best name.
Yeah, and I'm always like my toughest critic, and I'm not gonna. I do sometimes think like I know Assuncao is older and he was on a losing streak, but at the end of the day, these guys, because I just tweeted about like fighting Frankie the other day, and people were giving me flack about, oh, you want to fight another old guy who just lost, and it's like, all right, well, they're ranked above me. These old guys are still legends who are still competing with the best of the best. If you look at their track record and who they're losing to the top guys. Anyone can lose to anybody in this sport, especially at the top when we get to the top 5, top 10, top 15. So at the end of the day, we're not trying to hand pick, but everyone wants to punch up, and so we're always trying to find guys who are ranked above us. So, but I think it was probably one of my best performances because I was so relaxed, and it came at the perfect time against someone like a legend in Assuncao.
Can I ask, because I like to ask people this question, you were on the last card before Christmas. Is that perfect timing? Because then you can enjoy the festivities, enjoy a little bit of a break over Christmas and New Year, and after getting the big win.
Oh, it's so perfect. I always tell my little brother and sister, Ricky Claus or Santa Simone is coming to town because I'm gonna go get a win and then we're have a good Christmas. But yeah, and I'm used to that. I've missed wrestling is a winter sport, and I started wrestling when I was in elementary school. Just when I was a young kid. So I miss Thanksgiving and Christmas every single year. So it doesn't bug me to have to diet and work hard. It's part of the lifestyle that I grew up in. So it doesn't bug me. But it is nice to the last few years I think I've had like December fights. So I guess, but it's been pretty consistent at least. So I get to fight and then get to eat, treat myself.
Because I spoke to Calvin Cater before his fight with Max and then after the Giga fight. And I don't think anyone's been more unlucky than his matchmaking, having to headline the first main event after Christmas and having to keep that weight down when you're at the dinner table.
Yeah, that definitely sucks. But also missing out on all the family events. That's the tough part. We're used to dieting, but it's like, man, they're having a good time. They get to go out and you have some drinks or even hang out, but you got to go train. You got to miss this. You got to miss that. So that might be even tougher than just the dieting part.
I did want to ask about this because I made a post a couple of weeks ago of kind of underrated fighters who could potentially be in the fighter of the year discussion. And I put you on that list because three wins, January, February, and December, two finishes, and really establish yourself back at the top end of the division. So how good has 2021 been for Ricky Simon?
Sorry, it cut out a little bit. Say, what was the question again?
I was just saying, so you got three wins in 2021. So I kind of put you on an unofficial fighter of the year list. So how good of a year was 2021 for your career?
It was. I mean, you can't complain with going 3-0 in the year and 2 of them were finishes. I mean, that was a good year for me. I even signed a new contract with the UFC going for that last Assuncao fight.
Yeah.
You know, a new 4-fight deal, 4th contract with the UFC. That's tough to do, man. That's tough to do. So everyone always says it's not about getting there, it's about staying there, you know. And man, that's what it's about for me, moving up the rankings and making more money. Dude, I used to pay to do this. I used to pay to get someone to fight me, you know. Like early on as a pro, like people wouldn't accept fights. I'd have so many opponents falling out. I'd have to agree to pay their medicals so they would even, you know, fight me.
Wow.
And now I'm freaking, you know, now I'm starting to feel like a prize fighter. Yeah. It's a good year for sure. But 2022 is going to be even better because, you know, I'm back in the rankings and I'm going to make that the next climb to be the next Bantamweight world champion for sure.
You're on a 4-fight win streak now. You've just got back into the top 15. We can only presume that your next fight is going to be someone above you in that top 10 range. Who are the names that you look at who you think could potentially be matchups next, in your opinion?
I feel like there's a couple ones that are interesting. You know, always the Sean O'Malley fight because, you know, there's been something there. For years now, we've almost been matched up. That's something I'm down to do. Doesn't sound like he is. So moving on, then I would like to punch up then since he's ranked behind me. I would like to fight. I mean, Frankie Edgar is ranked. I know he got pushed to 11, but that'd be a good fight. You know, he's a wrestler. I'm a wrestler. You know, he has to prove that he still has it to stay in with the top. And if not, then I'm willing to like. There's a couple rematches with the number 5 and number 6 guy right now. Number 5, I had a very close loss to Rob Font, fight of the night in Washington D.C. Yeah. I feel like it could have went either way. He got the nod that night. So, and he's number 5 in the world right now. I just fought Aldo, so I feel like that could be a good one. Or even I have a win over the number 6 guy ranked in the world right now. So a rematch for that, you know, so something like that could be interesting. So I feel like we have options right now. There's exciting fights coming up. You know what I really like is to get a big name like Frankie or O'Malley, and I feel like I'm a 5-round fighter. So let's get on a main event and let's show the fans what we can do for 5 rounds.
That is generally the next step in a fighter's progression. Once they've got into the top 10, it's when the main event slot comes, and then you kind of start getting pushed to, as you mentioned there with Rob Font now, a couple of back-to-back main events. That seems like also the next logical step that could happen next. But the O'Malley thing I want to touch on. Why do you think O'Malley would potentially not want to fight you? Do you not think it's worth the risk? Do you not think it's a bad style matchup? What are your opinions on some of the controversies of O'Malley's recent matchmaking?
Well, I say that I don't think he wants to fight me because I've been offered like, hey, do you want O'Malley this time? And I say yes. Same phone call. Yeah, let's do it. You know, weeks go by, nothing happens. So, and that could be for a couple of reasons. Maybe they're offering it to me. You know, I don't know what's going on in his end. Maybe they didn't even offer it to him, or maybe he has too many options and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't want it. Maybe he, you know, as you can see, it kind of does seem like he does get cherry pick the easier fights. And I'm not saying these guys aren't good. These guys are good. You know, they're in the UFC and they're competing. But I mean, at the end of the day, he has had, in my opinion, a little bit easier of a route. But at the end of the day, you gotta also say that he's doing what he should be doing to most of these guys. You know what I'm saying? He's getting some highlight finishes and what I keep saying is like he is good. He's very talented. He's a talented striker. But the difference is I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to find out if I really got what it takes. And I think I've been tested just about against everybody. You know, I'm battle tested, and I don't think he is. And in MMA, you got to be able to be the hammer and the nail. You're not always going to be the hammer. Sometimes you're going to get nailed, and you got to find that route to get back to being the hammer. And I know I can do that, and I know he can't.
Something you mentioned there that I want to pick up on as well was the potentially rematching the likes of Rob Fonton or Merab was the other one you alluded to at number 6.
Yeah.
And that was quite a, I don't want to say controversial finish with the submission, but it's one of them that's been debated over the years. And I know that the Georgian fans are so passionate about their own. Do you still get hate from that that win over Merab?
Of course, but at the end of the day, it says W next to my name on that fight, and I got that extra paycheck too. But but that was a sick fight too. That was an awesome fight. And the difference is, like I'm saying again, like I'm willing to go back, but let's do it again then. Let's find out, But yeah, I still, those fans are awesome. I mean, they got his back, and I've had an opportunity to, have plenty of conversations with Merab over the last couple of years, and he's a cool guy. He's a hardworking guy, and he's tough as fuck. So, and when we had fought, I knew it was inevitable that we're going to see each other again. Like I really did, even though it was my first fight in the UFC, back like 4 years ago now. But I had a feeling that we'd run into each other again.
Yeah, he's had a really good year himself, and as you mentioned there, got a little bit higher than you, even though you've got the W over him. Sometimes it's funny how the MMA rankings work.
Yeah, yeah, it is funny. It is funny how it works. But also, I mean, like, if you're winning, he's doing the right thing. He's winning. I think he's won like 7 straight since our fight. So, shoot, that's good.
What are the plans for you to get back in the cage? Do you have a timeline that you'd like to return? Presumably, you never took too much damage in the Assuncao fight.
Yeah, not in the fight, but in training camp itself, I did have some injuries that I had to deal with. But that's always the case. I mean, when are we not injured? We're beating each other up every day, So I take pride in like my recovery. I do a lot. I'm always trying to figure out what's the newest thing, or what's the next best thing, or what is the best thing I could do to recover my body. And whether it be like ice baths, sauning, cryo chambers, body work. I've been doing a lot of hyperbaric chambers lately with red light therapy. So I think, I feel great, but like I said, I want to make a run for the title this year, and I just want to make sure my body's good to go. But I could be ready by April or May to get this going again.
This might be a difficult question to ask, and I'm interested to see what you say. But who do you think, in the 12 guys ranked above you, who do you think is the best stylistic matchup for Ricky Simon?
Ooh, stylistic matchup. Who would I have an easy time putting on their ass, like wrestling them on the top? I mean, someone who's ranked above me too. I'm not, and I don't think any of these fights are easy, but like you're saying, stylistically a good matchup for me. I think even Marlon Moraes, he might be a good matchup just because he's on, like I say, he's top guy, almost made his run for the title, but he's on a losing streak now, and he seems like he gasses. I don't, he has trouble, once you start adding in the wrestling, I don't. So I think that could be a stylistically good match. Like we were saying, there's so many good fights at 135 pound right now. I think Marlon has a fight though. Sorry.
Marlon is fighting Song Yudong, who is actually right below you. Yeah, the kid from Alpha Male in California. But what I wanted to mention, because I feel like some divisions in the UFC, they're okay to stop at the number 15. For example, heavyweight, it's a relatively shallow division, so by 15, we're okay there. But the likes of bantamweight, the likes of lightweight, it should probably go to 20 or 25, because the guys who don't have the rankings, the level is still so high.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, there's guys outside the top 20 that I wouldn't want to fight before I'd fight some of these guys in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? But it just happens to be like the way the timing works out, where these guys are out in their career and stuff. So the guys who are in the top have put the time in and have been there and been competing with the best of the best in the UFC for longer periods of time. So, there's plenty of good guys in the weight classes. Every time I like watch a bantamweight fight on the weekend, I'm like, another one, these guys are animals. There's too many of them.
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes I ask fighters about this, and I want to get your opinion, because you've just got back into the rankings. When you get a ranking, does the matchmaking become a little bit more difficult? Is it more jostling for position because the guy above you will want to fight someone above him and all of that? What is the matchmaking process like from your end?
For me, it's easy because I got the best manager in the game, Jason House, through Iridium Sports Agency. But so like I don't have to worry about too much. He knows I'm always down to fight. But at this point, we do got to be a little strategic. Everyone, like I was saying earlier, everyone wants to punch up, but the UFC has to be on the same page as you too. So like if you're wanting something and they're not wanting it, then you might have to fight again and prove it again. And that's something I'm willing to do. And that's something I always tell my manager, like, that's what they think. Like, I want them to be hyped about me too, as much as I am hyped about myself and believe in me as much as I believe in myself. So I think I can compete with the best in the world. I feel that I can beat anybody. But that being said, there is some strategy to try to pick the next fight to keep moving towards that belt because that's the ultimate goal, huh?
Yeah. Sterling versus Jan. How do you see the rematch for the world title in your division playing out?
Man, I don't know, man. I just want that fight to happen at this point, so we get our division moving. I had previously picked Sterling. I thought he'd be able to make it a little more grimy with the distance and the wrestling. But I mean, after that first fight, that left a lot to be questioned, I guess. So more than anything, I think I'm just excited to get that fight over with, so we can get the division moving along.
Is that the worst thing that can happen for you guys on the come up when there's an immediate rematch or when there's such controversy? Probably the worst case scenario because the division it feels like it's stagnated for so long.
Yeah, it could be. It could be, but also there's always like a silver lining, I guess. It could mean opportunities for certain people. You always see, guys getting these opportunities for the interim belts, and they're making good money and then they get to unify them. So depending on how long it is and the timing and if there are good fights to make for like an interim belt or something like that. But that hasn't been the case with our weight class. But if you think about like 155, when Gaethje got the belt and stuff like that, it could be, there's ways to like move it along and stuff like that. And it could mean opportunities for guys. So it could be a good thing. But no, at the end of the day, we don't want the division to stay stagnant. We want to define who's champion and number one contender. We want to keep the ball rolling, make some money.
Of course. Well, we're talking about keeping the ball rolling. And I like to ask this question to every person that I get on the show. What is the essential goal for Ricky Simon in 2022? What do you want to accomplish in your career in the next 12-month period?
This is the year I make my run for sure. I think I'm going to be number one contender by the end of the year, or not already lined up for a title fight. I mean, I'm at that point in my career, 22 fights deep in my pro career. 19-3 on a 4-fight win streak. So I feel like just a couple more wins, I'm going to be at even 2 more wins, depending on who they're at, the right timing, right ranking. I could be talking about title shot by the end of the year.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I've got one final topic that I'd like to cover before we conclude, because I saw on your Instagram story, I believe it was yesterday, that you put a poll, either you or your barber put a poll on about cutting the mullet. How serious was that? Is that something that you think will ever leave?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I've cut it before, and it grew back out with some wins, but dang, man, I feel bad for my wife. She has to look at this ugly mug every day. So so I don't know, man. I like it. It's fun to do, especially the fans seem to like it. But I don't know. Having a normal haircut seems kind of attractive sometimes. One thing is I get pinned to the mat. Like I'll be like scrambling. Look how long this thing is. Or maybe just a trim, but I'll be like pinned to the mat. I'll be trying to like get up. And my hair is like something like this isn't okay. This isn't okay.
Have you ever thought about plaiting or something like that for like some of the females do when you're in the cage?
Like what was that? Like braiding it up or like
braiding it? Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one time and it was against Faber, and so like my superstition side's like let's leave it down, let's let it flow.
I want to ask you.
My head felt too tight.
I want to ask before we go. Give me a top 5 pound for pound rankings of UFC haircuts. Who comes to mind when you think of the best haircuts in MMA?
Shoot. Best haircuts. Well, number one, you probably got to say Tyson Nam. Dude, I don't. You seen he had like a $50,000 bonus knockout, and his hair not seeing one hair out of place like mine right now. So yeah, I'd probably play him up there. His hair is always on point. Shoot, who else we got? I mean, the Tanner Bozer cut his mullet. I think he did, but his would have been up there.
Yeah.
Kiesa's mullet was pretty sick. I know his hair is always on point, but his mullet was one of the best for sure. Yeah, you got to throw. I humbly I'll throw myself in there around like 4 or 5 at the end to make myself look better. But Poirier, Dustin always has good hair too. I think he's always worried about it. That's so ridiculous too. That's something that why are we worried about that when we're in the middle of a fight? We're like, how's my hair? How's my hair looking? We're also on TV though. That's probably why.
I was wondering what your opinions are on Yuri Prochazka's antenna that he had for his last fight against Dominic Reyes. What did you make of that?
Oh my god, dude! Like I don't know if I would want like that big old thing in like grappling situations. I think it's gonna get in the way. I think, huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you pull out a knockout like that, you can do whatever the hell you want with your hair. I think. Spinning bag elbow or whatever.
What is the Greek myth? Is it Samson and Delilah? About he cuts his hair and he loses all his powers. Do you ever wonder that you could be a little bit like that? You cut your hair and then
Yeah.
suddenly you start losing a couple of fights, or maybe the power isn't there as much.
Well, so after my 2 losses, I cut my hair off.
Yeah.
I cut the mullet all the way off, and then I said if I got on a win streak, it'd grow back out. And over the last 4 fights, here it is banging again. So I don't know. Yeah, the power is definitely in the mullet, though, I will say.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it very much thank you for your time. Very, very good to sit down and chat. And what has been a fantastic 2021. I can't wait to see more of it in 2022.
Even better 2022. Thanks for having me on, man. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine. Before we go, Ricky, how can people find you on social media and any sponsors you want to plug or anything like that? The floor is yours for the final word.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah, I make it easy. I think it's all the same on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm ticking and talking now. Ricky Simon UFC, easy. And then I have some of the best team of sponsors. Riverside Payments, Drink HRW, Ball Wash, say Ballsy, Lewis Family Dentistry. I think Rob Font jabbed a tooth out of my mouth when we fought for that fight of the night, so he repaired that for me. So yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys.